What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos, three jabronis come together to talk about nerd shit. My name is Luis Gonzalez, and with me is...
Miguel Sanchez.
And Deadpool.
That's right, everybody. And guess what? It is our 3-year anniversary.
What?
The towns are going crazy. I can't believe we've committed to this thing for 3 solid years. I feel very like I've accomplished something.
I mean, it's pretty.
It's commitment. I mean, who commits for 3 years these days? You know?
I have moved 3 times since we started this podcast. Do you know what I mean? And right before we started it, I just moved to Colorado. Like, huh? What? What?
I had another child.
That's
Wow.
the most insane, to be honest.
Luis got married.
I did get married. Okay, I was wondering what my accomplishment was. For a second, I thought like nothing happened. It was just like, well, just the same old Louie Lou, you know?
No, you're a mister now.
We took that boys trip, right? We had your that
right.
birthday episode.
That's right. That epic birthday episode.
Favorite moments real quick from 3 years.
You know what? I always loved not this past year's Super Bowl episode, but the Super Bowl episode the year before when we were talking about the Twisters. That was such like, I was like, wow, we are rolling in this one now. I love that. I always think about that episode. I always like the episodes you guys do by yourselves too. Like it's really fun to, because when I edit it, I don't listen to the whole thing when I edit. I do like, I go to certain like topics. Like, okay, here's the point where they're changing topics, so I'll change the picture. Here's the point to change it. And so when I publish, I actually listen to you guys, and it's really fun. So yeah,
I think by far the best episode was when Ed was by himself ranking all those things. That ranking episode.
No, I was literally.
I still go back to it.
That was going to seem derivative, but I was just going to say, like, I think genuinely one of the best episodes was when Miguel did his solo episode.
Yes, I'm going to say something. Well, for all the new listeners right now. Sorry, we're all gushing about our 3-year anniversary. We're going to talk about Mickey 17. We're going to talk about some news. We're going to talk about what we're into, some TV shows, things like that. We're going to celebrate a little bit for our 3-year anniversary. But if you want to jump to our Mickey 17 review or our other topics, go down below in the YouTube. We got little timeline markers. You can just jump right to that. It's also in the YouTube or in the podcast description. We have little time markers. You know, if you want to get somewhere, we're going to get you there fast. But right now we're going to slow things down and talk about our 3-year anniversary. Miguel, that episode where you did it by yourself, that was such like a learning experience for me. That was like, this is 101 class of how to do a podcast by yourself. And ever since then, yes, Miguel, and ever since then, I did my own I do the wrestling podcast on the side.
Yeah.
And that's a solo podcast. So when I first did it, I was like, channel Miguel. And then ever since then, like that thing has really, your spirit animal has skyrocketed me in that podcast. Like you were the fire to get that going, you know? So yeah.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that episode. I was very scared to do it because Ed's done like at least 2 solo episodes so far.
I think just one.
No, maybe it was Luis's done 2.
It feels like 2, Miguel. I agree. I think it was just 1, but it felt like 2.
Because
there's one like failed one.
Yeah.
No, we clearly proved that you were the personality, and like Luis said, it just was kind of like a lesson on how to do a solo episode and keep it entertaining and focused and moving, which I certainly was not doing on mine. But also, it just for our podcast in general, it's like, yeah. We bullshit so much.
We do.
I love the bullshit.
It is a vibe. I like sometimes we get on a roll and it's like, we'll rant for. I mean, do you guys remember we used to do a lot of tangents and like ranting at the beginning of our podcast? You know what I mean? Like before we found that rhythm, it was always just like, okay, you know, we're supposed to talk about these 3 things, and we would talk about 45 other things in between 1 and 2. We had to really kind of find our groove. So.
Well, we've done a lot. Well, this is our episode 147. I mean, we've like 147 podcasts we've done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a lot under our belt. I felt like we really locked in. You got a new background. We're getting new gear. Like this has been such an awesome experience. And if you want to watch Miguel's solo episode, it's the Blueski versus Threads. And he's like in the middle and he's like, you know, in between both logos. It's got a lot of views, that one.
That was a fun one. We should do it again sometime. Okay. Social media talk.
As in, you should do it again.
No. Another social media talk because I feel like I've had new opinions since that episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, now we got to rotate it back, Ed. It's going to be back to you and me. You, me, and Miguel. We got to take it back to one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to re-listen to Miguel's just to take notes again and make sure I
the other thing
stay on task.
Is that Ed's solo episode was the very first time we ever did a solo episode. And so, like, Ed...
We were desperate.
He came out and he was like, I'm going to do it. And he ranked, like, 10 different rankings in one episode, you know?
Yeah.
When you started talking about cheese, I was like...
Including cheese. This is
such an Ed episode. Right.
I was talking about somebody had requested, like suggested doing like a best scenes that make you cry, and I got myself choked up recollecting those scenes because I had also because I was also nervous and anxious about it too, so I had like down 2 martinis ahead of time, and I was just like, oh boy.
Ed,
so
I love you.
I get nostalgic, sentimental. What can I say? And don't get me started about cheese. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was fun, but like hard to play back. Miguel, you were just professional. I wish you were like that all the time.
Louis, I know, guys. Sometimes I fuck up. Can I tell you? I was about to actually compliment Louis about something, but I meant to say this earlier. One of my favorite moments, like my favorite fuck up moments of the podcast was last year when we were supposed to watch Beetlejuice, and I jokingly was like, oh yeah, I walked out of that movie, but I started to make a joke about it because I was like, let me just make it haha funny. And man, Luis was like not having it, dude. That was one of those moments where I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I gotta remember, like, Luis is like a legitimate producer and I have to like actually work for him sometimes. like we're not just friends every day. He's also kind of our boss.
I got to put on my producer hat sometimes. I got to say, all right, I'm producer mode now. But Luis actually did something that was my favorite moment of the podcast. Maybe one of my favorite moments of the podcast was I was traveling. I was on a road trip. Luis texted the chat and he said whatever the comment was, and I just didn't get to it in time. And he sent that GIF of Schitt's Creek, the dad being like, "We can talk about this later." And then how Luis just turned it into a whole segment for us to do, and it's become one of my favorite segments of the podcast. It's like we can talk about this now. You know It's actually we want to talk about it later. Let's talk about it now. Okay, let's talk about it now.
I love that segment. So this like last 3 years has just been us kind of fine tuning what works, and having a great time.
So we obviously have grown so much. We are, we've got new sets, we got new everything, but we're also now streaming on Twitch, and we have a comment from Eric Jew, who has popped up in this podcast. He came when we were doing the Penguin episode, and he said his favorite podcast moment so far was Steven Escobar making a drunk encore on the show when we were talking about House of the Dragon.
Oh boy,
he disappeared, and then he magically came back.
Oh my god!
Remember that moment?
Oh my god! I was thinking of another time that he did a drunk encore, but you're totally right. That was like, okay, and anyway, we're done talking about House of Dragons, and we had got like 10 minutes into another conversation, and he was like,
and then he showed back up. That was peak. That was peak.
That was maybe the most joke I've ever seen Steven,
I remember coming on late to that episode, I believe, and I, just like willy-nilly, I think I was coming from a movie or something, and it took me about a minute, and I texted you guys, I was like, he's drunk. He's real drunk.
He's smashed.
But we've all had our moments where we've all been like heavily smashed in this episode.
Absolutely. We punch and we get drunk and we're nerds.
There was one day after we recorded when Luis texted me. It was the group, but he was texting me in the group, and he goes, "Hey, how many beers did you have last night?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." I just it gets so silly and fun.
But how many was it?
Oh,
but I don't think I did that to call you out and be like, you were really drunk. I think.
Oh, no. You switched it on me. I thought it was going to be that conversation, and you were just like, I can't remember what the end result was, but it was basically like, oh, I couldn't tell at all. You were having so much fun.
Yeah.
I kept like clicking the beer. That was when I first started having a lot of beers on the podcast. I would be like every like 5 minutes.
You guys remember that college drinking game where you tape your beer cans and make a staff out of them as you go along throughout the night?
Oh,
and you make
actually,
a wizard.
I've never done that.
A wizard staff.
Edward 40 hands.
What I'm suggesting is what you guys do that from now on. Keep a roll of tape.
Yep.
Okay.
And start taping up each can. And so by the end of the episode, I want to see how big that staff has gotten.
You shall not.
It'll be there to haunt you the next morning, too. It's like, you had 8 beers last night? What the fuck?
I remember,
I remember when me or Sean and Ross, when we just got out of high school, and he's like, we got like an 18 pack, and we're like, let's drink all these now. And then we wake up the next day, and we're like, this was a horrible mistake.
Yeah.
18 Budweisers.
Yeah, it was rough. 3-year anniversary. This is super exciting. And this was our first review as the Batman. And Ed made shirts for us. I couldn't make it for some. Yeah. I don't know why. But you made those shirts for us. That was really cool.
I say I made them. I ordered them online. They were like the most unique looking. But yeah, I got everybody's sizes and everything. And yeah, alas, you couldn't be there, Luis, but I got it to you eventually.
I did stay up very early or late to get those tickets, though. I wanted the premium seats, the Dolby Theater.
You did. That was our first Dolby experience, too. That was like a whole new journey.
That is my Dolby Theater. Like, I go to that theater specifically for all my movies.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
That's where I saw Mickey 17. So, like,
that's full circle. So, first movie was Robert Pattinson, the Batman, and now 3rd anniversary, we're doing Robert Pattinson again for Mickey 17.
Yes.
Incredible.
I can't believe it all came together. No, I've got like my whole system in that theater now, because at the very tip top of the theater, you can exit, and then all of a sudden you're in like the back hallways upstairs where like the employees have a hangout room, and there's all these like private bathrooms, and I'm like, this is my fucking area. Like every time I go see a movie now, it's the Dolby Theater, and I know where to go. Yes.
Is it like an employees only area that you're describing?
There is legit an employees only area up there. Because technically you can walk around, but no one ever does because everyone always goes down.
Right.
Yeah.
I go.
I like doing that too. Sometimes I'm in the IMAX or the Dolby. There's like, if you stay upstairs, you can go to like the, you're not supposed to be here section, you know?
No,
there's like a private bathroom too. It's really nice.
I walked by their room last night after Mickey 17 and no one was there, and I almost just went in there to take a picture. Guys, it's like a hangout, like a green room. They've got like a foosball table.
What?
Several tables. It's like a teacher's lounge with like a microwave and a fridge. And I was like, you in here? You know, like, I don't care.
Shout out to Ed for doing our first Instagram reel. Remember?
Oh, man. Yeah. Ed, you were going to be the social media king there for a second.
The Italian one?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And that was before I even had a good phone. So, yeah.
Oh my God, he shot that on the iPhone 6, you guys. That's the other thing. Ed jumped like 10 generations in 1 year.
So I should have put like a found footage warning on it or something like that. So it's like, this is way back from 2015 or whatever. That's a bad joke. That's all right. But yeah, I just...
Ed also revealed that he was having a baby on the podcast, which I thought was big name of it. We were like, let's reveal big life.
Yeah, we do that a lot on this pod, which I like. Ed's the baby, bachelor stuff. Miguel, what did you like? Tell us.
I hang dong that one episode.
Yeah, that's true. Episode 88.
And then we got that email from YouTube saying, "Hey,
don't do that."
Don't do that.
No, I don't remember. Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
3 years. All right. Well, here's to 3 more years with my Coca-Cola.
Cheers.
I have a Coca-Cola in my hand. Oh, I'm drinking. I have a Coca-Cola in my hand because I haven't been sleeping at all these past couple days.
And you think that's going to help?
Oh, yeah. I've already had 3 Red Bulls today. And then
you're going to have a heart attack. Stop it.
But I needed to get through because I had an hour and a half drive to work, or an hour drive to work, and it's that situation where like I'm falling asleep, and so like I'm punching my leg just to stay awake. Have you ever had that situation?
You know,
I've like smacked myself. Yeah.
So that was that kind of day today. No, I guess I'll talk about this now. even though that is for another time. This is kind of news. I have this video actually that's just released. It's on IGN right now. If you go to youtube.com/@IGN, I'm in a video and I'm hosting it. And I brought in WWE superstar Big E, and me and Big E sat down and we played WWE 2K25, and we just explored this new mode called the Island. And it's a 30-minute video. Honestly, I feel like the pacing's great. I did a lot of things for that video. I'm very proud of the video. I liked it. I was a cinematographer. I wrote it. This was like a big step, and I was on camera, and I haven't been really on camera at IGN like ever. And honestly, I could not do this without you guys, because all like the experiences that we've had together and the bits and just like the support that you guys give me and we give each other, like that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I can stand my ground in this room and lead this conversation. And the beginning of the episode, I had to do a throwback to this podcast, because I opened it the same way I open every show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my name is Luis Gonzalez. So I did the same thing for this. It's called Let's Play Lounge. It's like we hang out, we play video games, and then it's like a podcast. So it's like when you play Fortnite, we're playing Fortnite, but really we're talking about life, and it's not about the game. It's about just us hanging out and having a good time. So that was kind of the vibe of the whole show. Check it out. Even if you don't know WWE, support me. I don't know. I was so nervous about this, and they were like, you have 3 days to turn this around, or 2.5 days to turn this around. And this is like a 5.5 day edit, So I was I was like, well, one, I was nervous because if this fails, it's all on me. And two, I'm on camera and it's kind of the first time. And, three, it was my idea. So I was like, I'm going to stay up all night editing and make sure I deliver something that's like fantastic to them. So they can never point to that video and be like, well, see, you fucked up there, so we can't trust you anymore. So I stayed up all these nights just to get this job done.
Love that pressure for you.
Thank you.
No,
now I'm ready to sleep. All right, I can't wait to go to sleep tonight. I can't believe I'm saying words right now, but yeah, go to youtube.com/@IGN. It's got a picture of Big E. It says Big E's favorite WWE moments, blah blah blah, something like that.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's a fucking star, Luis Gonzalez. Everybody, you need to seek him out. He's on the rise.
So kind of you, Luis, to be like, oh, because of you guys. But Ed and I, we met Luis back at U of H, University, all those years ago, like 15 years ago. And you were already performing and doing silly things. At such, I hate to be sentimental right now. But I just
the whole point. It's the anniversary. We've got to be sentimental.
The first time I ever met Luis was when I was hanging out with my now wife for the first time, and I just remember being like, she's so cool. Sarah's so cool. They're hanging out with this guy, Luis. He's so fucking cool. He's so funny and so talented. Because I was like a young actor, and I was like, everyone's so cool.
Yeah.
But you really were. You were so much fun and so funny, because I was doing comedy at the time too. So I feel like I really lock into people being really funny. So for you to sit here all these years later and be like, oh, I'm so glad I do this with you guys, but I think it's already in you, is what I'm saying. And you could have done that no matter if you're doing a podcast or not. And you've been the day that you texted us and you got that job at IGN all those years ago, I just remember being so proud of you and being like, that's my friend, and he is deserving. So the fact that you worked so hard already and then you came and you did it even so for this thing, I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to tell all my friends to watch it. So regardless of this podcast, buddy, good job, man. I'm proud of you. And you do good work, okay?
Thank you.
For us as well, more than we deserve every
1,000%.
week. Yes. Every week, and then not only that, but these fucking side projects that you assign yourself. You put yourself through so much hell, man. But you're just trying to I don't know, not just play the role, but you want to please the people, including us, more than we deserve. just last week you got us the fucking belt, or not last week, the week before. We've got a Punch Drunk Nerd belt now. Like, are you kidding? You buried it, ready to go. Yeah, like you go above and beyond just for us, and we already know you're doing that at IGN. IGN, you better recognize.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, man.
That's why I did this. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. I just love doing this podcast with you guys. You're amazing and awesome. I just feel so blessed that I get to, do this every week. Even if something shitty happens during the week, I know like I have this to look forward to. And this will be like the recycle of everything. It's like, I may have had a shitty week, but I'll do this. And then it just recycles me. And then like, okay, I can do the next week now. And it's just really nice to have the support from you guys. Cause even outside of nerd stuff, you guys are always like supportive and there for me. And yeah, you guys are the best.
No, you.
You guys are the best.
All of you.
God damn it. All right, let's stop recording because we're just gonna fuck each other now.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually only have one thing on the news before we get into Mickey 17, and this is like 5-year-old news, but I just wanted to get your reaction on it. Do you guys know the alphabet?
This feels like a trick. This feels like a trap.
I thought you meant like it was 5-year-old news, like from 2020.
Well,
you meant like news for a 5-year-old?
No. It actually, I think it happened 5 years ago, but it's been trending on TikTok now again. And basically, people are saying like, and I just wanted to see if you guys knew this. You guys have kids, maybe you do. I don't. The alphabet song has changed. Did you know this?
Oh, I have heard this. Yeah. Ed is rhythmically challenged, so he's already going to fuck it up no matter what.
Ed, I'm going to play it.
When you hear it,
God, okay.
Or he won't.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Okay, just wait for it.
H,
Here it comes.
J, K, L, M, N. O, P, Q, R, S, T, U. V, W, X, Y, Z.
Apparently, kids were getting LMNOP confused, and they thought that was one letter.
We all did, right?
That is a rite of passage for childhood that you have.
That's what I'm saying. You need to go through that
up. Yes,
LMNOP syllables. You just gotta
learn them.
You learn it though. It's the perfect time to make a mistake and then be like, no. This is what this means, and then you learn from it.
Right.
And also, it had some musicality to it.
Exactly.
It
but
taught
you roll into it. Like, what's the letter right after M or whatever? You just like LMNOP.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
LMNOP.
You can't have just a song that goes pop, pop, pop. You need a pop, 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 pop. Like, you got to have some groove to it. And the alphabet song had that. And made it fun.
Breaking up LMNOP there, I understood because I've heard that before going into it. The most egregious thing in that moment just now was when it was like QRSTUV. You're like, wait, why did you pause so heavy on
that?
It seems like they're retrofitting the song to make it work again. It's like, no, it feels like a committee came together to change it, and then they're like, well, we still have to make it sound like music. It's like, well, you lost the beat, so you can't really make it work.
Fuck fixing the alphabet song, because you know what I mean? You can't reinvent the wheel, I think.
While we're at it, why don't we change the name of the Gulf of Mexico?
Fuck you. Fuck you. I will never.
Luis, can you play it one more time?
Do it.
Just real quick.
Here we go.
It'll take 10 seconds.
Oh, that's not the right song. Here it is.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
I can hear Nosferatu singing this song. Like the way that the cadence of it all. V, W, X, Y, and Z.
That's who we should have done. Oh man,
that was our very strange news segment. We typically actually talk about real topics, but fuck
that's
it.
That's how you know Luis has been up for 48 hours straight. He's like, "Have you guys heard about the alphabet song?"
Like, yeah, I can just see you, like in the dead of night, clicking away on this edit, and you just had that playing on repeat.
Yeah.
And repeat.
Oh my god, like Clockwork Orange. You know what I mean? Just like, brainwashing you in the background. There's like, baby, please come to sleep.
I'm just like
MNOP.
Oh, man. All right, so that was the ABCs, but now it's time to talk about Mickey 17. Does anybody have a description of this movie?
Yes, I had it pulled up. Stand by.
Fuck yeah, Ed.
I was trying to contribute something.
Hang on, wait, Ed, hang on 1 second. I was listening to last week's episode, and we were talking about the Oscars, and I can't remember who the award winner was, but Ed was complaining because it was like 2 or 3 of them up on the stage with their phones, and they were reading, and Ed was like, they were like, "Go now, it's your turn," and he was like, "Just write it down." And when I was going back and listening to that episode, I was like, oh my God, that is how Ed treats our podcast too. Like, he does not keep our notes digitally in front of him. He's like, prints it off at work and is like, I need the hard copy. And I just knew that when we ask who has the synopsis for this movie, Ed's got it written down. It's in a book. He's handwritten it.
I don't have it written down. It's
Oh, Ed, Mr. Ed Ball, he used to be Mr. News Anchor. Remember when he had his little papers and he would tap them on the table?
I still do. I didn't go to work today, so I wasn't at the printer. So I am
making me look like an asshole. That's good. All right.
Not intentionally, but I appreciate the comment. I'll take that.
You're welcome.
Because I do take pride in having paper.
You are a paper boy.
I am a paper boy. Yeah. All right, Mickey 17. It's adapted from the novel Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. It stars Robert Pattinson as an expendable, a disposable crew member on a space mission selected for dangerous tasks because he can be renewed if his body dies, with his memories largely intact. With one regeneration, though, things go very wrong.
All right. Let's do Ed, what were your thoughts from Mickey 17?
I've got to say I was a little underwhelmed. And I don't think I can just attest this to the couple of whiskeys I had before the movie. But it felt like first off, I enjoyed it as a whole. I thought it was fun. I just feel like I had issues with the pacing, where the story went and how much was actually kind of crammed in there. But overall, I really liked Robert Pattinson. He's continuing on this wonderful streak of his right now of interesting roles and different roles every time, it feels like. And most of the cast as well. But I do feel like some of the cast are operating at a different level of OTT than the rest. Like, it's mixed. It's very much a mixed bag for me. Overall, I did like it. It wasn't a movie that I wasn't enjoying. I was engaged with it until I wasn't. And I got to sneeze. I'm gonna be
Achoo. I think my opinion probably aligns with Ed's as well. It's funny because like the Monkey and Mickey 17 were movies that I was really excited for, and then after coming out of it, it's like they were like good, but something didn't like make it gel and fully connect with me. Like I afterwards I was like, oh, I had a fun time, but I think I finally have a way to like describe movies sometimes. Okay, my lack of sleep is kicking in. What is that Southern thing that people say when like you're wrong? It's like, oh, darling, you know what I'm saying?
They say, oh, bless your heart.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay. The oh, bless your heart for movies is, well, it was a fun movie. You know? It's like that, because saying that means it's like, well, it wasn't like particularly good, but it was fun. And that's kind of like what Robert Pattinson does a great job. It's just like, and maybe this is kind of like Bong Joon Ho's movies in the past, but he hits the themes like right on the fucking nose, And I think this movie is like some good parts, some bad parts. We meander on some things and we don't follow back on some things, which I don't actually mind, but I don't know. It also felt like some sort of like fuck, like I don't know, fuck it. You go
satire?
ahead.
Like a political satire, kind of,
like a guilty pleasure. You know what I mean? Because at the very end, everything kind of like worked out. We have a relationship with the animals. We have a new government. Everybody's happy, and it just feels like a very
hopeful. Yeah,
it's like a guilty pleasure that people have, where it's like, fuck the bad people. We can do this together. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, that seems like that theme was more important to him than maybe developing certain characters in their arcs. It was like he wanted to really showcase that thing without.
And it happened as it took turns when and not necessarily in a bad way, but it kind of shifted focus throughout and never kind of came back to what you thought the movie was.
Just hang on.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Before we move on, I want to share my thoughts. Okay. All right.
Who are you?
But more so is Ed said something several minutes ago that I just didn't understand what he was talking about. You said Robert Pattinson was great, yada yada, but the other actors were not. They weren't on the same. Would you say OTT? What does that mean?
Like over the top.
Did you know that's what that meant? Did you know that's where he was going with that?
Okay. Well, hold on. OTT is like a term that's used in the business. It is over the top, but it's like broadcasting over the top. But I didn't know what you meant in this context when you said OTT. Again, wild acronym man coming in here.
Ed will just throw an acronym at you. Like,
I thought that was a pretty standard one.
Such a straight face.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's what was hanging on you all these minutes that we've been talking.
I just couldn't. I couldn't understand. I I will say this. No, before
you guys keep
talking. No. You both have had your turns.
We did. Okay? We did have our turns.
And I'm upset because I liked this movie.
Good.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
Great.
I walked away from it going, that was weird.
Yeah.
And I feel now that I've seen 3 Bong Joon Ho movies, so now I felt like, I'm kind of seeing your style and your choices, like how he makes a movie. But obviously Robert Pattinson is really good in this movie, and I think that's something that you could talk about anytime a actor is playing 2 characters at once. You have to be the biggest thing is you have to be able to tell them apart. And this movie, and I think a lot of tropes when they do this bit is they have to visually give you something. Because, side note, I just read something on Reddit today where someone was like, "Oh yeah, my dad hated The Departed because he couldn't tell Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon."
Actually, I had that issue too when I was a little kid.
No, I don't want to hear from it. I don't want to hear from it. It's ridiculous. I don't understand. They look totally different. I
always mixed up Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg.
Nope, never them either, because those are 3 different people. Okay.
Well, actually, that was the one I meant. Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg. That was what I meant.
But this movie is so good about the acting separates the 2 up until like the 3rd act, and then they give one of them a scar on the. So that way you can tell visually who it is. And I was just like, I kind of wish they hadn't done that in the moment, because I thought Robert Pattinson was doing such a good job about differentiating. One is a wimp and one is like a hard ass. And it's like the moment they react to anything, tell who you're.
And a bit of a psycho, like he's got that like psycho twitch in his eye.
Yeah, he had one of my favorite moments of the psycho one. After the dinner where the wimpy one was injected with all the serum or whatever.
Best scene of the movie, that dinner scene.
Oh, it's so good. It was so good. But even after that, when he tells him, I told him thank you, and then he like flips out on him. He's like, what the fuck do you mean you said thank you to him? That whole moment I thought was so good. But I mentioned him only to say is I thought all of the main actors in this movie were doing such a good job. Even if the pace was a little wonky, every time they centered on someone, I was paying attention. I liked the choices that they were making. The only one that I thought was maybe a little whatever was Toni Collette. I feel like she didn't have enough to do. She kept saying sauces. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was her main thing, and I just felt like besides her kind of like controlling Mark Ruffalo, we didn't really get anything until that very last moment with her in the movie that they later are like it was or whatever.
I felt similarly to Steven Yeun's character. I liked him, but I just didn't. I think so many relationships throughout it were a little bit of a question mark for me. Like, I didn't really get the Steven Yeun thing, other than he just kind of stuck around. He was always just like a shitty friend, I guess. But
I kind of liked that, though. Like, you never really knew the motivations of characters. I had a lot of, because we've seen so many movies and read so many stories and shows and this and that. You can kind of like plot storylines as you're watching the movie. But every time I thought this is the direction they're going, they would kind of shift gears and they would be like, "No, we're not doing it." Like the white girl with the brunette hair. It was like, oh, they're gonna now split up and they're gonna be the boyfriends are gonna switch with the girlfriends, and that's gonna be. But then she is sidelined immediately. It's like, no, that's not the story. And so it was like every time you think I have something to focus on, the story said, no, we're moving again. And so it kind of kept me on my toes, which I kind of felt like added to like the anxiety of the movie. Like when the anxiety finally kicked in, I was like, I don't know which direction we're going here. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of stuck in my chair watching this. I really liked Mark Ruffalo because I feel like Mark Ruffalo is a little one note in a lot of movies. But it was clear he had inspiration for this character. He had a little prosthetic teeth going on. And I just kind of liked his cadence and his dialogue. The girlfriend who was initially like very horny at first, like, I'm so glad to have two Mickeys at once. I thought I wasn't going to like her. And then I ended up really digging her because they make it
Naomi Ackie.
That she is just like a ride or die. Like, I support you through all of this. So I don't know. I just really enjoyed these characters. I get if maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb and I just didn't pick up on something. But I had a good time. I came home and I told my wife, I was like, I think you would like this movie because it's weird. And I don't know if I would necessarily watch it 2 or 3 more times, but I could see myself watching it.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a fun movie, and I think it has like a very pertinent like theme to it. You know, just basically like. I don't know. I mean, we get political, but like, the rich do not give a fuck about that. You know, like that's for me, that's the movie. Like, yes, there's characters and everything, but the one thing that it keeps its focus on is basically like the rich and the elite do not give a fuck about you and they want to use you. Like, basically, like Mickey 17 is literally made out of shit, you know, like all the accrements to print him out. Like, you are shit. To everybody else, you mean nothing to us at all.
Yeah, to them, just
like you are uterus, you are shit, you are just service, and you are just a thing to get us going somewhere. You know, it's just you are energy, you are just a resource, and that is the theme throughout the whole thing.
I think that is like kind of on par with last movie, Parasite, which was a very much like rich, poor theme, and it's like he's kind of taking that to and there's
into like a satirical level, into like a tongue-in-cheek comedic, like yeah.
So I don't know. I thought this was a film. My least favorite Bong Joon Ho movie is probably Snowpiercer. Something I should probably go back and watch again. But all those years ago, I did not like Snowpiercer. I loved Parasite, and I thought this movie. You know what I mean? So, I think Bong Joon Ho is like one of those directors that I think I will ultimately end up watching when he comes out with a new movie, but I'm never gonna know
what you're gonna get.
Just what I'm gonna get out of it until I watch.
No, I agree. I think even the trailer, even the movie was as kind of satirical, but in its own kind of way, in its own kind of taste, like, you know, Bong Joon Ho, than what the trailer perhaps portrayed. I don't know. You could have seen it as like, we're going to see a series of unfortunate deaths through this character with maybe some, you know, whatever, just things happening on the side, and then the Mickey 17, 18 interaction. But yeah, I think to its credit, it was definitely unexpected. It kept me guessing like where it was going to go. And I did enjoy that element. And I did enjoy the characters. I just felt like maybe, and deliberately so, I'm sure, it was just that Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette were like way up here and everybody else was, kind of.
And I think that's appropriate for those characters, because they're characters, like, not even really human at that point. Like, you are just some sort of like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm
cesspool of greed. Yeah,
exactly. Like, you are a caricature at this point. You don't even know what it is to be a human being. You are just like he's being followed by this camera crew that is just shaping his life.
Yeah.
Design.
And she's like catching him at every moment, every single word. She's like latching onto it, whispering, "No, not that, not that, not that."
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like product of whatever, like media persona, like doing. And then like at one point he has like a late night TV show.
Yes, yeah, and it's like
he is this like caricature of a human, of a rich human, not like a real person.
And there's contradictions of like, no one should be cheering or doing anything because it's going to exert, energy. And then later it's like, oh, well, I just got offended by these creepers. Let's go to war. And then they're like, but that's, how much energy we're going to waste. And he's like, I don't care. We're going to do it anyway. Like, whatever I'm feeling is the right answer. And there's just like no real grounding of truth in it all. And it's just like, it's just a selfish thing. And we are all kind of pawns. And he needed to escape. The only thing he could do is become an expendable. Like, you are put in situations where you are just fucked, and you have to come together with the people that you are close to get out of it. It sucks that someone like Timo, who is supposedly his best friend, like, listen, man, we're all in this shit together. He backstabs him, and
because people are shitty,
people, exactly.
And that's kind of like this theme of everyone is always out for themselves. Individualism. It's a very like pointed theme of what's going on in life right now. And I was like, yes, I see what we're doing here. I mean, Mark Ruffalo was essentially like Trumpy.
Yeah. No, I mean, they had red hats. It was definitely him.
Oh, absolutely. And even the cadence, the way he spoke, like, I see.
That's what. But it was nice.
I think he was like, go ahead, Ed.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just to finish off this point, but it seems like this is a movie. He just finished Parasite, so he has a bunch of freedom to do whatever he wants. And it feels like a director who is just having fun and being overindulgent in this theme and just like, this is what I really fucking feel. And I'm going to put it on screen, and whether that like rubs you the wrong way or something that just like is a guilty pleasure for you is going to be different for different people. But I can definitely feel him having fun and just like really like leaning into it, and I think it's just a tone thing whether you vibe with it or not.
I will say I left wanting to see it again, to give it that extra, because I feel like there was probably things that flew over my head, and I was maybe focusing on the wrong things, but again, it was an enjoyable time. And it's pointless. I'm not even trying to like compare it to Parasite. I felt like I don't know. I wasn't like let down. I just like slightly underwhelmed by what I got away from, took away from it rather. But it was fun. It was well done. Like I
think for me it was like the pacing of it all. I think that was like the
pacing really threw me off.
I'm on this fun ride, but then I'm going like, and then I'm being turned left and right, and like what I'm seeing, all the visuals and what I'm feeling is good, but it's just like the pacing is just
like where it starts and then it backtracks a little bit. I was a little unsure
I feel
of.
like that's like a common way to tell a story is like jump you to the moment, but let's take a step back so you know like the context.
Sure.
For me, like I have a thing where I like to know how long the movie is when the movie starts. Like I go to IMDb, like 2 hours and 19 minutes, my phone right when the movie starts. Mm-hmm. And so there was definitely a moment in this movie where I was like, wait, there's 30 minutes left in this movie? Like that's kind of wild. that's that much of this story left to go. And so that kind of troubles me because then I'm like, then that's when I get antsy. But for me, like the letdown for me towards the end was when it got just a little tropey. Like I didn't expect, because the movie, every time I thought we were going one way, they would go another. They really end on a kind of a traditional storytelling. They're like, oh, he sacrifices himself for the greater good, even though he was like the selfish clone.
Right.
And it was like, oh, okay. I kind of wanted to see what I thought was going to happen was that they were going to sacrifice Mark Ruffalo. They were going to throw him to the worm, and the worm was going to get gratification because the worm wanted that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I guess they shifted it one more time, but then it just kind of felt a little, oh, yeah, of course that would happen. You got to kill him.
It was fulfilling his own kind of destiny too. Like he was so driven to kill Mark Ruffalo that he was ready to do it at any cost. And that was just a situation he was put in. He was like, this is how it has to end. Like there's no, for me to get rid of him and for me to satisfy the big creeper. Like, and I'm already gung ho about this. This is my mission. Like that was his like vocation in life, was to basically kill Mark Ruffalo. And he was able to.
That's true. I forgot about that because he was trying to shoot him. So that was like.
Yeah, and he was very much driven to annihilate him. I want to talk about like the different like Mickeys that they didn't explore it as much, but we just saw it this one time with this Mickey 18 where he was like really aggro. But they brought up the other Mickeys, like one was really clingy, one was really like sweet, one was really dumb or whatever. And there was a moment when they were talking about their mother's death. It was when they were going to go talk to the creepers and they were going down the platform out into the snow. And Mickey 17 is just like, I feel like it's my fault. I shouldn't have pressed the red button. And then Mickey 18 is like, I've told you this. Like, it's not your fault. And something about that phrasing of scripting of like, I told you this, it's not your fault, seems like, well, one, he wouldn't have told him this literally in real life at any moment. You know what I mean? Like that, I told you this would have been something like, because, you know, when we talk to ourselves, internal dialogue. And so when you have all these different Mickeys, it's literally like all your internal dialogue, all your internal people are being printed out. Yeah. And so it was almost like that split into different characters. And that was just a very interesting way to phrase it. Like, I've told you this already.
To tag on just real quick, what you, I think the reason why I kind of hooked in pretty early is when he gets imprinted for the first time and they shoot him with that goop in the neck. And he's like, it brings back these memories. And then it immediately cuts to him like as a child in his mother's arms, like walking to the car. I get really emotional about those things because it's like, I have a son who's around that age, and I was just like, oh man, I couldn't imagine what he would feel if one of us died, and then if he were to feel responsible for that. And so that just immediately kind of like it made me like emotionally connect to this Mickey. So when it got to that line later about being like, oh, it's my fault, I was just like, oh, he's still carrying it, like all of these versions. I don't know. Yeah,
and the movie pays that off. The movie pays that off at the very end. I mean, it, like I said, it leans hard on the elements at the very end, but like even he gets to push the red button, and so he gets to correct the wrong that he did with, you know, he killed his mom with the red button, and now he's like bringing in a new society by pushing this red button to then destroy.
Not only he presses the red button literally, but in that dream sequence, she's like, try the sauce, and he's got that little dollop of like red on his finger. And he presses that too. I just visually, I think there was a lot of really cool moments to like express this like trauma through.
I think Bong Joon Ho just had like a lot to say and to do and to put in here. And I mean, yeah, like I said, it was a fun movie, and I think it is something that, you know, if it's on TV, like
bless your heart.
Bless you.
You should start putting that on the posters. It's just like bless your heart.
Another favorite scene was that dinner scene when he's just like going down and eating that. I
liked when they started racing for Nasha. You know, he was trying to. Just like when the two of them meet. and that starts spiraling. Like he's trying to get rid of the other one, and yeah, the situational comedy was there, and maybe I just needed a whole movie of that, just the Robert Pattinson antics, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I wanted.
It's interesting
more
you say that.
Maybe you wanted it, but that's not what the movie was ready to give you. You know.
Clearly, I'm selfish for wanting more.
I think he really delved into little pockets of like, I'm going to do a situational comedy. I'm going to talk about this scientific theory. I'm going to talk about past trauma relationships. I'm going to talk about this. And he just like
colonialism. Here we go. Like
he entered into these like little bubble moments with all of it driving to just inequality. You know, it's just like, let's pop into here and how inequality affects each little aspects of this bubbles, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's what you're supposed to do, is maybe you're supposed to hold on to like a tiny moment of those, so that by the end you kind of like have this full person. You know what I mean? You it's 17 moments leading up to the final product. I just think that I try to, guys, you know me, like I'll walk into a movie and talk dog shit about it the entire time if I hate it. But I just feel like I try to tell myself, like, do not dissect it 100% now. Just like let it flow through you and see what you pick up on, and get that option for a second view. Maybe maybe that's when I'll find like my full opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll hate it.
Look at you becoming a little Ed.
I just don't think I think it's sometimes you go to a movie and you go, I have 99 movies here, and this is the only time I'm going to see this one movie.
Yeah.
And I need to have my full opinion, my full critique, my full everything. But maybe that just
leave it at the door. Yeah.
Maybe that just can't happen on a first.
I love that. I love that is such a true honest statement, Miguel, because I feel like a lot of people, that is like what people want to do. Like that, I don't know. You just hit.
And outside of the podcast, think about the internet. Every time the movie comes out, there's going to be 1,000 critiques about the movie, and it's like, well, you just watched it one time, or even worse, you didn't even watch it one time. You're watching the critique of a movie, and
that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
That happens all too often, I feel like, and that's why, like, for certain movies, like for Mickey 17, I try to avoid reviews. I watched that one trailer, and then I was good. You know, the one with the.
You go back and watch that trailer after the movie?
Yes.
I did. I watched it last night with Kristen when I got home. And it was one of those things where I was able to watch it going, I just watched this movie, and wow, they're really showing you the trailer. Mm-hmm. But if you've never seen the movie, like, you have no idea the context of it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
It feels like it's from different pieces of the movie, but it's really very linear. Like, this is the start, this is the end. And it tricks you. You talked about the music earlier. It tricks you into thinking it's going to be this like kind of like upbeat, like silly situational comedy. And then when you watch the movie, it's like, oh, that's not quite the vibe at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A little bit of an existential like dread of humanity that we're going through in real life right now.
Right, basically. On a genre platform or whatever you want to. Yeah. I liked it. I did, and like I said, I left it wanting to see it again. So, and like you said, Miguel, I don't love Snowpiercer. I didn't love Okja, and then otherwise it was just Parasite. So I want to go back and watch his Korean films like Memories of the Murder and Mother, and Host. The Host.
I am rounding those up.
Yeah, I've seen them popping up here and there, and I've been meaning to watch it, but it's one of those things of like sitting down and giving it my full attention, which I want to do. It's not.
I do wonder if like his like native like experience as a South Korean, right? Like if when he makes a movie through that lens and view, if it like his sensibility comes through a little more, you know what I mean? Like, 'cause I was kind of wondering that, like, watching this movie, obviously, like, Parasite was a foreign film. You really got to experience it through, again, that lens. But like this one, it's like I kind of wondered, because when he accepted the Oscar, he had a translator with him, right? If I remember correctly. He was speaking in his native language, and he had a translator.
And he did through most of the press for this.
Yeah, and so I just think about it as like a creative being like, I have this story, and I have this creative sense, and not only do I need to tell this story and like be true to my creative sense, but I also have to translate that to a bunch of American actors who then have to also take that and like be able to work with it and make it palatable for American audiences. And so I just wonder, like, after all those filters, like what gets lost along the way, and what if in the other way, you know, as an American viewer, what am I supposed to really pay attention to? Like, what am I missing in the translation? I have thoughts about this. So I
agree. Because it certainly occurred to me. I mean, because like I said, I'm not being like a huge fan of his other American English spoken films, even though, again, watching I remember being excited to see each of those. I would just be curious to see if that holds up if I go back and watch his Korean films. The only way we can find out is going back and doing that.
Doing it.
Just doing it. Bong Joon Ho ranking. Here we go.
There you go.
Bong Joon Ho ranking. All right, Mickey 17. Check it out.
Guys, what an episode. I can't believe we've made it 3 years.
Now we're going to talk about what we're into.
You guys are so tired. I'm like, let's wrap it up. It's okay.
No, because I just have to we have to get it out of our systems, Miguel. We have two things we want to talk about.
No, you don't want to listen.
I do want to hear it, though. I love hearing people nerd out about things. It gets me excited. Like, it makes me want to do it too. But I've been a little Miguel lately. I've been a little Miguel where I'm like, I don't have time for it. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. I don't know. You know, like, I've been very
busy.
I just don't care as much. Like, I do. I'm just like, I get it. Like, I don't need to spend all, like, I haven't watched the new Daredevil show.
Oh yeah.
You know me? Yeah. You know, old Louis would have seen it day one.
We watched the entirety of Moon Knight. We could watch it live or whatever.
I'm just like, do I want to, you know? But I tell you what I have been watching, and it's got me in a chokehold. Okay. This basically, I can't watch anything else because I'm watching this. It's The Traitors. All right.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to talk about it on the podcast. I've said it in our text chains. I'm going to talk about it here on the goddamn podcast. The Traitors is a show on Peacock, and basically it's Alan Cumming, who is the host, who is fantastic as the host. And The Traitors, have you ever guys played Mafia or Werewolf?
Yeah.
That is the premise of the show. You have 10 to 15 people, some of them who come from Survivor, Big Brother, some are Real Housewives, some are from like reality stuff.
It's reality TV that has reality TV stars.
It's like an all-star show.
Wow.
So it brings like these all-stars together from different places, and so they start clicking together and supporting each other, and they're in a circle, and at the beginning 3 people are chosen or 2 people are chosen, and they have to go about 10 episodes, and they all have to decide who is who and what is what. And in the middle of it, a traitor can pick up a new traitor. And I think it's just the funnest, most like, I'm having a hard day. I just want to eat it up. Like, I don't want to do anything else but watch this show. In fact, I just finished this last season of the American one. Now I'm going to jump onto the UK version. There are 4 seasons of that. And then I'm going to jump into the Australia version. Like, I want to consume The Traitors. Like, I'm having such a fun time seeing people like lying to each other, trying to get out of a situation, and like people plotting. People like, I think you're a traitor, but they're like, oh no, he's a faithful. He's not really a traitor, but he's like hell of a traitor. You know what I mean? So you just see all the mind games. I think it's really fun, and I don't know. I just say.
I have to say that before my son was born, before we got married, Kristen went through a big reality TV show phase, and my brother-in-law and his wife, they went through a big Big Brother phase, CBS, and I feel like Big Brother very similar, where it's like cliques that group together and alliances are formed, and they try to kick people off and this and that. And I just eat reality TV like that, like a competition reality TV show. I eat up. Like I don't give a shit about like let's reinvent this house or whatever. I don't like that reality TV. But I love people like competing in that sense, and so, and I've been dying to get back into it. And Kristen's like, I'm past it. I get you. I hear you.
I'm like at the opposite place now. It's like I just want this experience, and it's also like you have gamers, because those are they're considered the gamers, and then you have the Bravo people, which is more of like the reality show people who aren't gamers, and then sometimes you have like people who are like random people who aren't a gamer or in a Bravo show. Like they had some sort of British person in their head. Let me see if I can find. Let's see if you know this person.
Some sort of British person.
He's royalty.
Royalty.
It's literally
Lord Ivar Mountbatten. Do you know who that is?
Mountbatten.
He's a British aristocrat and geologist, the second cousin of King Charles III.
Oh boy. I might recognize him. What's his name again?
Lord Ivar Mountbatten. He's a descendant of Queen Victoria, and through his father's side, he is the second cousin of King Charles III.
Yeah, can you send it in the chat?
He also shares the last name as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children, Archie and Libet Mountbatten Windsor. Sussex. Okay, that's all. You know what? Like, I just had to get it out there to let you guys know this is what I'm doing, and this is like all I'm going to be watching. Like, and you know what? Too bad. Like, too bad everyone else. I'm going to be watching this. Like, this is what makes me happy. Life's too short, and I'm going to do it.
To tag on to what you're saying is we have really locked in house, and it is. We don't have to get to it now, but it is legitimately like taking over our lives. Like we go a few days because we're busy or whatever, and it's like, why haven't we watched 4 episodes last time? But we hang on before I say this, Luis. We talked about a show a while back, Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. Well, I heard season 3 isn't that good.
Hey, I don't know. I've not got there yet. Kristen is, she works from home, so she has been watching it in the background while she works. And it's one of those things where I came home on lunch the other day, and she was like, "I'm on episode 2." And I came home like 2 days later for lunch. She was like, "I'm on season 2, episode 9." I was like, "Oh, how are you already this far into the show?" But after Mickey 17 last night, I watched a trailer for Yellow Jackets.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I was hooked. I cannot wait to watch that show.
Season 1 is really good.
Yeah, it looks. Love
Christina Ricci.
No, yes, but the whole cast looks really good.
The person who's in The Last of Us.
Yes. I almost said Megan Malarkey, but that's not who I'm talking
Marlene.
about. Yes. No, not Marlene. Whatever her name is, because she's not in the. But anyway, guys, I've been wanting to talk about something. Okay, and I'm going to give you the streamlined. Hang on, is my mic good? I'm going to give you the streamlined version of the show. Okay. I am 4.5 seasons into this show. It's got over 100 episodes, so I'm about halfway through it finally. Okay. You guys have heard me talk about it before, and I gave you like a brief overview of my very beginning understanding of the show. But I've been watching, I believe it's, is it Stars or Showtime? It's on Netflix. I'm watching it on Netflix. Is Outlander. Okay. Guys, I'm going to very quickly walk you through how many arcs we've gone through on this show.
Okay, I'm ready.
So far. Okay. Lock in. All right. First off, it all takes place in Scotland. Okay. The very first season, it starts in World War II, and it also jumps back in time to the 1700s before like the revolution in 1776. Okay. Several years before all of that.
So I'm living in 2 different worlds here. I'm in the
Oh, baby, that's the theme. Okay. You can that could be the sentence of the whole show. I'm living in 2 different worlds. Okay. So Claire, she goes back in time. I've said all this before. She goes back in time accidentally through these stones. She is in Scotland in Inverness. She runs into the British army, They try to attack her. She goes into the safety of this Scottish clansman from the Mackenzie tribe. And it's this whole political drama in that whole first season of she doesn't fit in with them. She doesn't fit in with the British, even though she is British in real life. She ends up marrying a Scotsman called Jamie Fraser, who is not a Mackenzie. He's a Fraser, and that's very important information. Okay,
from Seattle.
It's yeah, absolutely.
I gotta try.
It's an arranged marriage situation, and then they end up falling in love. Okay, and that's basically how the first season ends. They fall in love finally, and also she knows that his whole clansmen die at this big battle of Culloden, where the British just kind of wipe them off the face of the earth.
Right. So she's going to try to stop that.
I'm going to try to stop that. And she tells Jamie, I'm from the future. And she convinces him that it's true. And they work together for the whole rest of the show to basically be like, we are going to change our fate. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Season 1, they don't quite accomplish it, but they're still together. They go to France in season 2. You think the bad guy of the show, who's played by also her husband in the future, Frank.
Right.
It's the guy from Game of Thrones, from the River Run. He is also the bad guy of the show in the first 2 seasons. He also has this homosexual relationship with Jamie. He loves Jamie. He wants to. He is like suppressed his. He's closeted. Okay. And it doesn't.
So everybody loves Jamie then.
Oh baby. Wait till I get there. Basically, everyone wants to fuck Jamie, okay? But unfortunately for Jamie in that first season, it's very malicious and it's very terrible. But season 2, they go to France because all of a sudden Jamie is like the patriarch and the politician of the Mackenzie clansmen. So he goes to France and he starts making political moves because him and Claire are still trying to change this outcome for this battle. They're going to save our clansmen, okay? Cut to the end of that season. So many things happen. Okay. You meet Jamie's estranged family. Jamie ends up having a baby with someone else.
What?
Jamie and Claire have a baby, but it's terrible.
Claire's the main protagonist.
Yes. From the future. Okay. They don't persuade the prince to not have this battle. They have the battle anyway. And because the battle is upcoming and they can't stop it, Jamie takes Claire to the rocks and he says, go back to the future. Okay. And Claire does. She goes back to the future and she lives the next 20 years of her life married to Frank. They have Jamie's baby because she's pregnant with Jamie's baby. They have the baby in the future. Frank raises her as his own. Okay. And you go through several episodes of only the future where she has her whole life. She becomes a doctor. Frank dies. Her daughter Brianna becomes a young woman who's in the university, and they spend this whole couple of episodes trying to figure out, does Jamie survive this battle? Which he does, and in the past also lives 20 years in the future. So each of them transgresses 20 years, okay? And then by the end of season 2 or the beginning of season 3, the battle happens. Season 3, all the time happens. In the middle of season 3, she comes back into time. 20 years has advanced. She goes and she finds him because he's still alive. And they're like, Claire? You know? And she's like, I'm still alive. And then they fall back in love. But then you find out he's been married like twice. He has 3 kids. He has a bastard child. He's like, they've lived a whole life since then. And then the season ends with them on a boat going to Jamaica because their nephew has been kidnapped by these pirates, and they take him to Jamaica. They go to Jamaica. She fights off this disease on this boat because she's a doctor now. She knows how to save people because she's from the future. They get to Jamaica. They kill this witch who is also a character from season 1 who is also time traveled. You find out that several people in the show, not just Claire, are time traveling. And then they get all the way to fucking America. And that's where we are in season 4, that they have like established in the colonies, like this homestead. And now they have like regrouped. And then the very last episode we watched is her daughter. She left her daughter in the future to come back into the past to find Jamie again. And her daughter has now come through the stone. And so
but the stones are only in Europe. How are they going into the stones in America?
Oh, because wouldn't you know it? This is some bullshit.
Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? See, Miguel, you do say that. You do say it.
I do. The stones exist everywhere. There's in every continent. There's like some little stone magical place. And so now her daughter Brianna, who is also Jamie's daughter, who Jamie never met before, has also come through the stones. And now they're about to meet. But also there's all this other secondary storyline going on because Brianna loves a man in the future and he's about to come back through the stones. Jamie has a bastard son who we haven't seen grown up over the last 20 years. Murtaugh, his like right-hand man in season 1 who we thought was dead, he just came back. Guys, this is soap opera drama, okay?
How do they do the 20-year jump though? Like, when the show starts, is Claire 20 years old?
So yes, they do age them up. Every time they go 20 years has passed, they have aged 20 years, even though she was in the future and he was in the past. Like 20 years in their timeline.
They've collectively moved up 20 years, but they age them up, like they make them look older. Okay.
Yes. So they started at 20 and now they're 50 or whatever. It's not 20 years, but whatever.
Jesus, 40 or like they still have like, you're in season 4. There's like 9 seasons. Like where are they going to go?
And if you jump ahead a couple seasons, you'll see in the thumbnails like they are like aging them. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, you guys are getting old. Okay.
Holy crap.
You guys, I can't even tell you how that's like the tip of the iceberg. I know Ed was yawning earlier, but it was just like you have no idea. No, I know. He's a sick boy. You have no idea. I left out so much drama on this show. I cannot tell you how much I think you guys would love the shit out of this show. Okay.
This would have been a COVID show. Like if we have COVID again, I'll watch this.
My God. It's one of those things like that meme where, you find a show that's like 9 seasons. It's 9 seasons out and there's like 20 episodes a season. And so you're just like rotting in bed watching the show. Like that is literally our life, right?
This is what Suits used to be for me. Like we were just watching Suits all the time.
I cannot believe how far into the show we've gotten. And it was one of those where Kristen watched it before me. She watched the first season and a half or so. And finally I sat down and started watching it and she stopped so that we could catch up. And it was just, it's so good. And they've gotten better. So not only has the money, the budget has gotten better, but the acting has gotten so much better because the guy that plays Jamie was not very good. The actress that plays Claire, she was making some questionable choices, but they've kind of like balanced them out to make them work in this like lore of the show. And oh my God, I have so much to tell you about the show. I could have a whole
Outlander podcast.
I could do it. Okay. It would be like, sing me a song. All right, guys, it's so good. All right. Watch Outlander. It's on Netflix. We're going to get to season 6 and then season 7, which is out right now, is going to hit Netflix. And then we're going to pay for the Stars subscription so we can watch the new episodes. Guys, it's so good.
If I wasn't in a chokehold with Traitors, I'd give it a try, but I can't. I mean, listen, I got to keep watching my Traitors. And you got to keep watching your Outlander, and Ed's got to keep watching his Formula 1 racing on Netflix.
Right, Ed? Yep.
What an episode, guys. Thank you guys for all tuning in.
I'm sorry, I muted my camera. I've been blowing my nose so goddamn much. I was just saying, I watched The Great. I started watching The Great.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, only one episode, but like, yeah, we have not been delving into a lot of series. I've been trying to keep up with The Last of Us.
Yes, Ed, thank you. Actually, that is your mission. You and Steven, keep going. The Last of Us. The Last of Us is coming out soon, right?
Yeah,
I think you're making enough. I think you're making enough progress. But keep at it.
We'll let you know when you're done.
I just figured out how to sprint. I was like, how do I keep dying? How are you supposed to get away? And then I Googled it, and then I figured out how to sprint.
You Googled it, Ed? That's so good. It's so good that if you don't know something, you can ask.
I did, and it was scary. I was at breaking point. I was like, I'm not going to do this.
Level? Are you in that building where the stalkers are chasing after you?
No, I just got out of the tunnels, and I'm in the movie theater. Yeah.
Wait, the movie you just got into the movie theater, right? That's good.
I just started a flashback. I just started a flashback with Joel.
Oh,
you're going to the museum. You're not there yet. Okay.
Okay, good. This is good. This is now you're
we're
getting in the game.
Yeah.
Like
we're getting in the game.
Now you're in the game.
It's a lot. I don't like playing it at night.
No one asked. Okay, we just told you play the game.
Play it.
Okay.
Okay.
If you have nightmares, that's your fault.
I can't imagine not sprinting to the point to where you're at. Like, I get so impatient. I'm like, I always want to be sprinting to where I'm going.
I want to. I just always thought that was the pace of the game, and I thought like she'd just fallen down a hole. So maybe they're like, that's the challenge of this moment, is that she's like limping a little bit and she can't get away. I was like, well, this is fucking impossible. I'm like throwing Molotov cocktails left and right. I'm trying to shoot
Molotov cocktail.
But yeah, man, they just get you anyway. So I was like, I've got to be able to run like fucking Dina. And I just, I gave in and looked it up. It was driving me nuts. Driving me nuts.
Hold down.
Yep. Yes, you do. And hold down triangle, not tap. Don't tap.
That's what I was saying on the text chain.
I made that same mistake. I made that same mistake. I was tapping. And, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, mute yourself.
Shit. I didn't mute, did it?
Well, Ed, just keep playing Last of Us. You got a lot ahead of you. You're gonna get some really good moments.
I'm excited for you. Yeah, you're about to hit some great moments. Some great. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to the 3rd year anniversary episode. Ed's sick. I'm fucking exhausted. I haven't slept for 24 hours.
I had a great time.
Miguel is just full of life.
Living his best life.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to us. This is me, Luis Gonzalez. With me's been
Miguel Sanchez.
And Ed Bull.
And until next time, later, Gators.